Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome. My name is Anka, and today I have a very light story on these pieces of evidence that synchronistically came into my life, which provided that yes, there is definite truth to this spirituality. And this theme of evidence has been popping up for me for the past 2 weeks, just everywhere in random people. It's been kind of odd. And it made me reflect back on my journey and what were those things that really stood out. Well, I have two things that I can say represented quite the turning point. And today I'm still integrating. We had a pretty powerful solar activity over the weekend. My body is weak, is working really hard at translating and integrating. And it was almost like I just want lightness. I want creativity, entertainment, and I love stories. And that's why I'm bringing this to you. I almost didn't want to, right? Because it's like, oh, what's the point? But when I look at myself, oh, these stories are so nice. So here's mine. I was 21, 22, and my family and I went to the county fair, like thousands of people. And I end up talking to this lady next to me. I have no idea who she was, where she came from, but she started to talk to me about energy, energy in the body. It's called Reiki. And apparently, I had a counter argument for everything that she was offering. And we entered this pretty fierce discussion whether Reiki is real. It's funny now looking back, again, early 20 person, whatever. And finally she stops and she's like, well, obviously I can't convince you that this exists, but may I show you? And I'm like, please, lady, go ahead. Maybe not quite with that attitude, but I had a pretty, I remember an attitude in myself. Anyway, she goes behind me and she's like, I'm not going to touch you. I'm just going to put my hands right by your head. She was whatever, 4 inches out, right? And within 10 seconds, I feel this lightning bolt from the top of my head down my spine. And it was very deliberate. I mean, it was an electrical charge. And I jumped, right? What was that? And she goes, see, I told you, Reiki is real. And that was it. And sure enough, a couple years later, after I was done with college, I found a Reiki teacher, and I was in Reiki 1 immediately after I found her. And also around that time, I think it was before I started my Reiki 1. Yes, because I graduated college, and then I moved back in with my parents for a little while. And my mom had purchased this oracle deck, Archangel Michael by Doreen Virtue. And one night I felt, I don't know, curious, and I grabbed her deck and started playing with it. I read through the booklet, I started asking some questions, and they seemed to align. And the messages were so supportive, and they were so warm and fuzzy, and it was like, oh, yes. And then I had this idea to actually ask for advice, because the previous stuff was just playing. It wasn't for real. But I was dealing with this issue, right? And it was very pertinent at that time. So I thought, okay, I'm going to ask about this. And I knew enough to ask for my highest good. I don't know if I read it in the booklet or where, but I remember I was asking for give me the answer that is my highest good. So I shuffled the deck and I got a card that I didn't really care for. It was probably telling me to look within or something. And I needed something on the outside. It's like, no, the problem is out there. Tell me how to fix it there, not like, why are you pointing it to me? And so, but I absolutely didn't like the card. So I put it back in the deck and I'm like, no, really, I meant for the highest good. So I shuffle the deck and I flip over the card, and it was the same card. And I'm like, it happens, coincidence. I obviously didn't shuffle the cards enough. So this time I'm really setting my intent for the highest good, and I'm going to shuffle the crap out of these cards, right? So I did. I flipped the card over. It was the same card. At this point, I pause and I got goosebumps all over my body. The room felt like it was different. There was this electrical charge now in the room. I froze for seconds. It seemed like time stopped, right? And in that moment, it was almost like, but I'm not alone. Even though I can't see anybody in the room, it feels like there's somebody here with me. And then I had this idea to ask the cards, to ask if there is truly a presence that is here listening to me. I am physically interacting with it through the cards, but there is a presence. In that moment, I placed a condition. If I get the same card the fourth time, right, statistically very significant, then I would know that indeed I am interacting and there is a presence for me in the room. And if I get a different card, then whatever. It was all a great, fun series of coincidences, right? And so I shuffled the deck really well. I turned the card over, and indeed, I got the same card. And from that moment, it was done, right? I had the proof that I need. That's the card that I also have to focus on, that there is indeed something there, and there is a intelligence that is interacting with me on a very personal level, and that there is more to what I knew God was like, religion, spirituality, all that stuff. There's way more to my understanding at that time. So it's really fun to look back at some of these things. I mean, I had many more. So pulling 3 cards in a row, the same card in a row, has been proven so many times. Now I don't even test the deck. If I get the second time, I know that I need to give that card some time, that I'm not seeing the truth in it at that time. And sure enough, in a day or 2 or 3, not more, it's clear what that card is. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing, all the tools that we have available to us, not just cards, anything, our body, pets, everything around us is that communication tool. But it does take some skill to, it's the same thing as learning a new language, right? You have to learn the language of synchronicity, of the universe. And yeah, it's been fun. So here it is, a light story and a little bit of inspiration. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.